Hey guys, can you hear me? I just want to check that everybody can hear me before I start. If you can, just put a yes down in the comment section so that I know that I'm coming through to you all. Yes, excellent. Right, so I want to just say hello to a few people who are on. So I'm going to scroll to the top and we're going to come through. So we've got Steve from Green Side Up, Johnny, CJ, Frank Caldwell, Mary Roberts. Who else? We've got Charlie, the Big Adam, Miss Wee Lassie, Michael Lindsay, Blues Food. Wow, there's loads of you here. Sewing Man, Laura, Skippy, Sheldon, Amelia, Digwell, how you doing, pal? Kimmy's here, Gardener's Paradise, and back down to Steve there, Becky, Andrew, Anne, Jen. Wow, so many of you guys. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll catch you as we go. So thanks for coming on to the live. And I know it was a little short notice, like a lot of the stuff lately. I want to go on firstly and explain a few things. Now, some of you have been asking why there's not been so many videos lately, and they have been hit and miss. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First off, you know that I suffered last year quite badly with the vertigo, and that's been an ongoing battle for me. Now, what I will say is that I've been seeing a specialist in Spire Hospital, and it's been put down to Meniere's disease. I've got another appointment there on the 17th, and I've just had MRI. Got an appointment on the 17th where they're looking to do a small operation that should hopefully, fingers crossed, nip it in the bud. So that's one of the reasons I've been quite ill on and off most of this year. And the other reason is that the weather has been absolutely atrocious. It's just absolutely hammered it down, and we've had massive storms here constantly. And I've got to the point where I won't just film a video for filming a video's sake. I want all the content that I put out to you guys to be worth something and you get something out of it, rather than just filming a video just because I have to film a video. And because of that, it's meant that I didn't want to put subpar quality sort of videos out where rain is hitting a polytunnel or whatever the case being. But hoping now that we can start getting some videos filmed and get ahead of ourselves so that we have some in the bank. Unfortunately, all the ones I had in the bank I used last year when I was ill with vertigo. So that's the reason really why we haven't been putting out so many videos. But that doesn't mean I haven't been producing content for you. I've been writing crazy on the website, and there's 103 full-blown articles on there at the moment, and I've got another 76 in draft, which will be going live over the next month or two. So the website's absolutely jam-packed, and it's across all walks of gardening. That it's not just vegetable growing or anything. So it really is a good place to go and check some stuff out. And if you want to know if I've done an article on it, all you've got to do is go to the website, in the search bar, type in what you're looking for, and it'll pull up all those articles. That so it's really easy to navigate and find those things. And you can do that by going to simplifiedgardening.com. So let's get back into have a look who else has come in. So Minlat is here, Jonathan Price, Jamie Trout, Kim Simmons, WM, Claudia. Wow, there's so many of you. Ali, Green Raven, Nat. There's absolutely tons of you in, guys. Doesn't show me how many of you were in, but while I'm here, I just want to thank Steve at Green Side Up for the £10 super chat, mate. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. Melody Belicida, sorry if I've mullered that name. So many of you here. Right. Okay. So I just really wanted to talk about that. And of course, we've hit a milestone yesterday morning at about 10 past 10 yesterday morning. We crossed over 250,000 subscribers. I'm not sure what I'm on at the moment. Oh, I can see now there's 126 people in the chat. So I do really appreciate that. It's now showing me. Yeah, so 250,000 subscribers. Wow, that's massive, guys. I really can't thank you enough. And it's funny because I was having a chat with a few other creators over the last few months, and they've been worried because of their growth, and they got 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 subscribers. Now, it was only 3 years ago that this channel still had 5,000 subscribers. So in 3 years, it's been massive growth. So if this channel can do it, anybody can do it. You just need to put out that content because it will happen for you. You just need to work through that hard thing. And the funny thing is, once it starts growing, it snowballs. And what I said to these people was, think about the places you could fill, whether it be like, a local music hall or something like that, and think about packing that out. And I did that myself today at looking at where I could fill with 250,000 subscribers. So I got looking online at the largest stadium in the world, and that's the Narendra Modi Stadium in India, and it seats 132,000 people. So if everybody from this channel that subscribed to this channel came to that studio, there'd be 120,000 people stood outside because there's no place for them in the studio. That's just mind-boggling. When you consider the reach that a channel can have. And another thing that I wanted to put out there, 1.2 million views a month. So although it's only 250,000 subscribers, it's 1.2 million views. It's absolutely crazy to think that all of those people are tuning in to watch my content. And I do really appreciate every single one of you, because it is, it's been the last 10 years of my life, really, when you think about it like that. And for 7 of them, I bumbled around not knowing what I was doing until I decided to get serious and learn. And when I did that, that's when things started getting better. The content for you guys, and obviously the growth for me and for my family. So let's have a look back through the comments, and I want to try and get through a lot of the comments tonight and interact with you a little bit more, rather than like my older streams, because I missed loads of stuff then. So I'm going to scroll back a bit. Hi Dean, I see you're on as well. And it's no problem if you're sorting stuff out. Hi Dave, I can see you're here as well. I'm glad you've popped in even though you're at work. Okay, so let's have a look what's going on. Hi Ralph. Hi Marianne. Hey Jeff. Christos. Wow, there's so many of you guys. 136 of you in. I can't thank you all enough. It's amazing. So what I thought we'd do today would be have a little look at my plans for the channel over the next sort of couple of years, and where we're looking to, what I'm looking to do for you guys, and how we can go on. And Consul, I can see you pick me comment, and we'll get around to some of you guys as well. Betsy from South Africa, hi Dolly Perry. There's just so many of you. We're just coming in thick and fast. Where are we going? Loving horses, thank you very much for your comment. I really appreciate that. Hi Karen, nice to see you here. So like I said, guys, it's 250,000. It just blows my mind. And when I passed it yesterday, it was funny because I've been so busy over the last few weeks, and with trying to arrange one thing or another. And this morning I had to go and have my second COVID jab. So I'm feeling a little under the weather already, and it hasn't even kicked in yet. The first time it really knocked me for six, for like 4 days I was in bed. So I'm hoping that that doesn't be the case tonight when I go to sleep. But it is the second one, and it's done, and at least I'll have some sort of immunity now and what have you. While I'm here, I just want to bring someone else on as well, because I got to say, without my family, I would have never, ever got to this spot. They've all made sacrifices. Caitlin and Wayne, they grew up all around the garden and everything else, and you saw them in earlier episodes. It's just really unfortunate that YouTube started playing silly buggers, if you like, with all of the whether or not you can have children in videos and monetize and things like that. So I'm going to bring in Caitlin, because a few of you guys have actually asked how she's going. You've seen her in the old avocado videos as a short little mouthy girl having a little chat with you and everything else. And I just think you'll be surprised at how she's grown up. Come over here, love. Guys, this is Caitlin, and she surely absolutely stormed up, and she's really has grown, haven't you? Yeah. So she wanted to come over today. I've been promising her ages that she can get on one of the live chats. So, but it's always been that she's been at some sort of football or dancing or whatever else she does. So, so she's always missed it. But today she stayed home just to be sure she could be on this live and say hello to you guys. So you could say hello.
Hi.
Don't forget the cameras down there. Yeah, look. So they're all saying hello to you. All right. Where's that? Where did I just see that? Wow, she's grown into a beautiful young lady. There we are. Right, give me a minute there. So, yeah, so I've had huge amounts of support, and like I said, this year it's been a case of, well, I didn't want to put out a video just for the sake of putting it out, which is what I did over the last few years. I really stuck to a schedule that was quite grueling, and I don't recommend anyone do it. I had a lot of burnout, and it does really affect you, because you just don't want to do nothing in the end, and it's hard to get back into then. So any creators that are out there, don't feel like you've got to do that video. I know you guys as subscribers, you like to have your videos and everything else, but there has to be a balance with your sort of mental health and everything else as well, so as far as that goes, the channel, how I see this channel sort of going now is that the content I'm going to continue doing as I am. I just want to make it as informative as I possibly can for you guys. And I think, the last couple of years, you've really been enjoying those videos, and where I've been putting off tons of tips that I've used over the years, and, the how-tos and things like that. And it's funny, I did a very small tomato growing ebook, and that ebook's been downloaded 2,702 times. It's absolutely crazy how many people have downloaded that ebook, and it's just a small little ebook, but it is packed with information on growing tomatoes and things like that. But where that information doesn't cover it, I have a video or blog post that does cover it, and I'm going to continue producing those sort of contents for you. So let's have a little go. So Marion says, stunning young lady, Tony. Yes, she is, and she's growing up to be very much like her mum. So let's see if I can come through here. I'm guessing from name, where's it? So Dave is saying, you've helped me, so I thank you for that at Simplify Gardening. Cheers, Dave. And you've been one of my earliest, I would say, subscribers right back, Christ, 2012. I think I started. This channel's been running since 2007, and I did gardening videos on it even then, but I deleted everything because I didn't like the way I was doing things, and I started all over again. The channel age is still the same, but I started it all over again, calling it Tony's Allotment. And when I did that in June, I think it was of 2012, Dave was one of my very first subscribers. So Dave, I thank you for that. You're still here today. You know, we're talking like 9 coming on 10 years. It's amazing. So John saying, hello, Tony, hope you're well. Congratulations on the 250,000 subscribers. Hello as well to your daughter too. Thank you, John. We really appreciate that. So today, guys, we can do whatever you want to do. It's all about you guys today. So if you want to fire some questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If there are any other creators who want to pop into the live chat, let me know and I will send you a link and we will drag you in. I'm happy to do whatever you guys want to do or whatever you want answered or anything like that. So one thing I will say, because I'm on my own here at the moment, if you have a question, can you put it all in capitals? It'd be much easier for me to find it. But don't just put a normal comment in capitals, otherwise I'll be trying to read them out as if it's a question and it won't be. So if you've got a question, put it in capitals. It'll just make life a lot easier. Dean, thanks very much for the congratulations on the 250,000. Yeah, it's funny. I still can't believe it. And, you know, and the funny thing is I get people saying all the time, especially like you, Dean, and others saying, you know, oh, I'll never get to that sort of size. And it was only a few years ago, I was saying the exact same thing to somebody who was this exact size. And now I'm here. They've moved on. So I've got to keep chasing, you know, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. It's funny because we all sort of aim for subscribers, you know, on our channels. Oh, I want, you know, 100,000 subscribers to get this play button. And it was only not so long ago that we got that. But, you know, subscribers are a vanity metric, really, when you consider it, because they, you know, you can have 250,000 subscribers and no one views your videos. You know, what good is that to you? But it's having those subscribers if you're active, and if those subscribers are like you guys here today, coming in and giving you feedback where you can possibly make things better, telling you when you've screwed up, because I screw up plenty and people let me know about it, I can tell you. But, you know, it's not that the information is necessarily wrong. Well, it is, but it's that you've put it cross backwards because of trying to worry about what you're trying to say. It's very difficult in remembering what to say sometimes in a video and get all that information across in some sort of format. And then more often than not, you catch those mistakes in the edit, but it doesn't always happen, you know, and then when it hits through, you guys let me know about it. So, right, so WM, let's have a look. Your allotment looks massive. Is it just yourself that manages it all? Cheers from Medina, sorry. Yes, my allotment is big. It's 3 full-size allotments, so it totals 198 foot long by 68 foot wide. So it's a big plot, and I'm the only one that gardens there. I don't have any help. So all the projects you see, you know, I'm dealing with, I spend a lot of time at the allotment. And the filming of the video slows you down because one video might take me a whole day, and when you've only got a couple of days up there a week or whatever the case being, you have to really be there. And I might be there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, just to make sure I can film and still get that sort of allotment looked after and the produce all growing and everything else. So yeah, it's a big allotment. I don't know what's going to happen, whether I'll end up eventually, because of the way I want to be able to keep producing content and things like that. Something's got to give. I can't keep doing it to the extent I am being work. So either I give up my job and just continue on my own, or I continue with the job for the time being and I bring in someone to help me as far as the editing side of things to take the weight off, or to help me with potting on, things like that. I don't know. It's something that I need to think about. Okay. So, Teresa, please tell us how to save our garden from torrential rain in Texas. We've been clobbered this year. Yeah, we have as well. We've been absolutely mullered as far as the rain goes. And some of you may have seen on Facebook a photo of one of my rhubarb stems, a couple of them. My rhubarb plant got absolutely smashed. Now, there is a video on that coming, but I've got another video that I'm hoping will be live tomorrow, but I'm waiting on some authorizations for that. But anyway, I digress. So the video, basically, that sort of rain and wind absolutely smashed the rhubarb, and the one stem that I was holding was 2 ounces off the world record, and I was absolutely gutted, because if it stayed on the plant, it probably would have beat it. However, it is what it is, and the plant's still growing and is still chucking out some huge leaves, so there's still hope yet. But you'll see that coming up in the video in the next week or two. So, but as far as answering your question, unless you're building structures, you may have noticed that I've now got a second polytunnel. So my one I built myself was 34 foot long by 14 foot wide, and the one that I purchased from Northern Polytunnels, that was 36 foot long by 16 foot wide. So it's a little longer, 2 foot longer and 2 foot wider, but there is a big difference in the internal space of it. Now, so what I'm doing for that is I'm putting more growing under cover, and that helps. For other things, I think you need to look at sort of shielding, so building fences and putting up maybe living fences like hedges and stuff like that, something that's going to stop the wind. You could try fleecing and building temporary tunnels over things, low tunnels to prevent the rain from smashing it down. But you're going to always be fighting a battle with the weather. It doesn't matter whether it's too hot or too rainy. All right. I hope that helps you, Teresa. Right. Let me just go back up because I lost where I am. Okay, so Rose's allotment adventure. Karen's asked, how can we turn viewers into subscribers? Firstly, I think you need to ask them, because a lot of people are afraid of asking their viewers to become a subscriber, and you have to think about not everybody's going to want to subscribe. But remember earlier on I was saying about subscribers are a vanity metric anyway. You're better off having a viewer who doesn't subscribe than a subscriber who doesn't view. So ask, great. If they don't subscribe, they're not interested in your content, and you need to look at why didn't they subscribe. Now, your data in your analytics are going to tell you everything you need to know, and you need to learn to read those data. There's a massive learning curve with it, but there are graphs and things that show you drop-off points, and you can go into the video at that precise point, and you can see exactly what you said. And it's funny, because when I used to say polytunnel, for argument's sake, I'm just using this as an example, but when I used to say polytunnel, I get a massive dip from America, so from the viewers in America, where they call them high tunnels, or or whatever they want to call them. So I'd get a massive dip where they would switch off, because what I found was they didn't associate a polytunnel with their high tunnel, but it's exactly the same thing. So sometimes you might need to just change the verbiage a bit. And now that can be counterproductive sometimes, because then you get people in your own country, like the UK here, who don't like it. A prime example of when I did this was when I changed autumn to fall. Now, we all know autumn is autumn, fall is fall. It's exactly the same thing. But the drop-off was massive. And so I changed it to fall, and then I had a lashback then from my UK viewers who weren't happy that I was using an American term. And you can't please everybody. So what you have to do is pick one or the other. And in this day and age, if you want to grow, then you're going to pick whichever one is more popular. And at that point, for that specific example, it was fall. But to me, I look upon it as if the use of a word is going to have someone stop viewing you because you've used the word fall over autumn, well, that subscriber's not really worth having anyway. And I know it sounds harsh, but you know, I want to build friendships with you guys, and some of you know, you've seen me in other live streams. I'm always chatting in it. I have a bit of a different personality when I'm on someone else's live stream, but that's what it's about. And if someone's going to judge me based over a single word, then you know, that's that. But it's all about the analytics and the data, Karen. So just consider that. And I'm always happy to help. You know that. So Helen says, thank you. Trying your potato growing here in San Francisco, area 10A. I have 50 plus bags of variety types. I'll see what grows best here. Helen, Yukon Gold grows quite well up your way. So if you've got some of them, I think you'll find they'll do really well. But it'll be interesting to see how they do. And if you can let me know which varieties do really well for you, I'd be really interested in knowing that information, because it's I'm in the middle of a blog post that won't come out till the end of the year anyway. And that information will probably play a good part in that for me. So please let me know. So loving the horses, gotta go, no problem. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so what we got? That's that one. Sorry, I'm going back to fall. What fruit or veg can start in the garden, then come inside over winter? Well, you can do anything like blueberries. You can do rhubarb will grow in containers. It needs to be a big container, but it will grow in containers. All of the citrus, things like that. You can grow apples in containers. If you've got a big enough inside area, you can bring it all in. You could be, you know, you just need big enough containers. You know, a lot of the bush style things will grow. Loganberries will grow. You'll need to put a frame in the container, but it will grow in a container. Of course, there's strawberries and things like that. I've seen there's a dwarf raspberry now grows about 2.5 feet high, and they'll grow in containers. There's just so much. You know, you could put figs in containers, pretty much any fruit that you want. Obviously, you're going to need to think about root stocks if you're going for trees. You need a dwarf root stock at that point. But there's no reason why they won't stay in a container. So Kimmy is saying, I was so happy to see you live. What do you do to reduce high nitrogen? Balance that out, because compost, unlike soil, will absorb the nutrients and it will hold it, right? However, there are things that you can grow, like green manures, that will actually lock up nutrients within the soil. So, and they will take that out. But one of the best ways of doing it would be to flush the soil. So just absolutely water it loads, and it will push that nitrogen out. The issue you have is what I say to. I wrote an article a little while ago. It's on the website about the importance of testing your soil. And the reason for this is because a lot of people go and amend their soils without even knowing what their soil needs. And you can't go adding amendments to soils without actually knowing the makeup of that soil, what its NPK is, whether or not it's got, you know, what micronutrients it's got, and whether or not it's lacking in anything. Because if you go and put in extra nitrogen when you're already high, or extra phosphorus when it's already high, you're causing major issues to your soil organisms. You're causing massive problems because your plants get locked up with that nutrient and nothing else. And then, you know, so flushing the soil is a really good idea, especially if you're growing indoors. But the importance of soil testing, guys, whether you do it on a kit at home or send it off to a lab, that's completely up to you, but you really need to get a basis before your growing season. It's really hard to deal with once you've got everything in the soil, and you know, because you're going to affect the plants if you're flushing them, if flushing that soil through at that point, you know. So test your soils. Okay. My tomato plants aren't growing well. They usually thrive. Any tips? Melody, why aren't they growing well? What's the cause? Is it just that they're slow growing? Are they turning yellow? Give me some sort of idea here. But what I will say with tomatoes at the moment, the weather's been really up and down. If it's anything like it's been here, it's been cold all of May, and they've been slow. I think we're probably a couple of weeks behind where we should be. So with the weather starting to warm up now, I think you'll find that they may start going. If it's an issue as far as nutrients or overwatering or something like that, well, that's a different matter entirely. And if you haven't already, I cover a lot of issues to do with tomatoes in that free growing ebook. So go across the website, simplifygardening.com. You'll see it in the right-hand column. Just put in your email address to get it sent to you, and you'll have it within the next couple of minutes. And that ebook will cover a lot of those things. But if you want further, you want to tell me exactly what's going on, and I'll try and help you a bit further. Okay, Wedgie, we bought a banana plant in France. Will it grow outside, please? Wedgie, what banana plant is it? Musa Cavendish will grow in a tunnel, or it'll even grow outside in the summer. It will not go through winter. I've got a whole series on that where I tried to get one to overwinter in a polytunnel, and I went to extreme lengths to try and insulate it and everything else, but it had none of it. Fortunately, I got 2 of its pups alive at home. However, in the tunnel that I've got at the moment in buckets, I've just bought 2 Musa Bijou. So they will overwinter outside in the UK. And they are a really hardy banana, I think down to like -15. So it really depends on the variety you've got. Yeah, so Steve saying nature does as nature is, no right or wrong way. I totally agree. And if you ask a garden, if you ask 101 gardeners a way to do something, you're going to get 101 different responses. We all have different ways, and for that person, it's the best way, but it may not be the best for other people. Now, growing in containers like the potatoes, for me, it's the best way I've found of growing potatoes, and you know I'm big on it. But it may not be for everybody, and some people like to grow in the ground with their potatoes. So you just got to realize that you know, there's so many different ways to do the same thing, and as long as you get the result you're after, who cares how you do it? You know, all I'm here to do, guys, is provide you with information to help you sort of move forward in your gardening sort of endeavors, and to try and get really good results. And then you can try that way, and if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, you move on and you find a different way. And usually I've got other ways on the channel. So let's have a look at. Congratulations on massive achievement. You definitely deserve it. Have a great live chat by all. Oh, that's Loving the Horses who went earlier on. So can I use lime on my tomato plant leaves? I wouldn't suggest you put lime on the leaves. Lime is quite an aggressive mineral, and it will burn and scorch the leaves. Why are you looking to use lime? What is the issue with your tomatoes that you want to put lime on them? This is what I find with a lot of people is they think, right, this will sort that out, so I'll ask if I can use it, but they don't really say what's going on with the plant itself. Whereas if you tell me what's going on with the plant, I may be able to offer a suggestion that way. Okay, so Michael, when do you pull your first potatoes? Mine are starting to die back. So Michael, wait till the top growth is about 50–60% yellow and the potatoes inside are pretty much done. You could let it all die back and just cut it back, but I wait till about sort of 60% of the foliage on the plant is yellow. Then I cut it back and I leave the potatoes in the container or in the ground for 2 weeks for the skins to harden off before I harvest them. And that way it'll just allow that potato to harden its skin a little bit, and they will still swell a little bit too, because there's still sugars being passed down through the hulms that are still left just below the soil surface. But so they'll still swell a little bit, but like I said, 50–60% of the leaves yellow, and they'll be ready to go. And by that point, the potato's pretty much at its chance, you know. So Jan is saying it's her first year of growing Charlotte in containers. Normally she used bags. Jan, I think you're going to find the containers a much better way, because bags dry out really, really quickly. And also they don't hold the heat that a container will. So in the early times of the year, especially with first earlies, that heat is quite important. Excuse me, guys. I just want to have a little drink. So, Michael, you're seen like a normal and decent guy, but you're in need to get your life together and find you a woman who cares about you, and go to church, serve the Lord, and have a blessed day and stay safe. Well, thank you, Michael. I have got a life, and I've got one of the best women in the world, and I've got some fantastic kids too. So I think I got it nailed, mate. Okay. Something's eating them. Okay, right. So I'd say that's the tomatoes. That being the case, you need to look at an alternative now, depending whether it's aphids or mealybugs or this sort of things. There are a couple of things that you can use. You can use a soap solution. So when you're using soap solutions, do not use like a dishwashing soap, because that's a detergent, not a soap. Use something like Castile soap, which is a baby soap. It's much milder. Now, all the soap does is puts a film over the mealybugs or the aphids or whatever it is, and that will prevent them. It basically suffocates them, and they will die off. And a couple of applications that are every couple of days will be fine. And the soap will also cling to the leaves and to the mealybugs and things like that. There's also a product called SB Plant Invigorator, which is fantastic. It is soap based, but this was also designed by a tomato grower. Now, he had issues. This tomato grower was commercial and growing in tunnels, very high yielding and very intense, and he was having issues with all sorts of problems, aphids, mealybugs, and tomato hornworms and all sorts of things. So he invented SB Plant Invigorator, and I use it myself. It's not cheap stuff, but it is fantastic, and it'll also it's also really good for things like powdery mildew and things like that as well. So that is a product that I would recommend wholeheartedly, and it's also organic, so anybody can use it, you know. Okay, so where are we to? So Wobbly Pete is saying he's just planted garlic in a bucket. Is it too late? It'll probably grow, but the likelihood of it getting any sort of decent bulb, and it certainly won't split, Pete. So garlic either gets planted sort of around October time or in the early parts of January, February, at the latest March, ideally, because it needs a period of at least 30 days cold for vernalization. And that means that it's stratified and it can actually cause the bulb to split for you. So you're going to probably be too late for this year, but it will grow. But the likelihood is of you getting any crop off it is another thing. And if you do, let me know. So if in America it could be hornworm, yeah, absolutely, Amelia. And again, like we've already covered, SB Plant Invigorator would be really good. Another thing for hornworm, which is fantastic, guys, is oh God, it's gone up totally out my head. I'll think of it and I'll come back to you on that now, but it's just gone totally out my head. I've just had a mind meld. This must be this bloody injection I've had is screwing me a bit today. So our Colorado is saying you can make Castile soap with 3 ingredients and it's easy as heck. Well, that's brilliant if you can make that, and I'd be really interested to know how. So if you've got a recipe for that, stick it in the comments because I'm sure we would all like that. So Laura's saying she's been using dishwashing liquid. Yeah, it's a detergent. It doesn't really have the same effect, and it can strip the leaf cells as well. So it creates, it causes the cell structure in the leaves to actually explode. So causing leaching and stuff. I don't know if you guys can hear this vibration. There's a flat above the shop I'm in, and he's just put on a washing machine that's vibrating across the roof. So, okay, let's have a look where we got next. Is Chris here? Because I see Melody's talking to Chris. Yes, please, thumbs up to support Tony. Thank you. Yes, guys, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Okay. So many people writing in here. So I don't know if we've got through all of the comments at the moment, but if I haven't answered yours, put it again because I'm moving down the sort of list. I'm not going back up, or I'll end up being like a mile behind you guys. So CG saying we'll go sells Castile soap. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon as well. You know, it's not that expensive. It's used for babies, so most baby soaps will be based around the same thing. So that's good. So Dids is saying, found your chicken keeping video great. I got a whole playlist on those, so check them out. I have an old English Bantam cockerel. It's only small, but with massive curling back spurs. Yeah, so you can despur your cockerels. You'll get a little bit of blood there, but just have some baking soda or something like that you can just dip that spur in. It'll stop the bleeding, but it's only where you're breaking the blood vessels. But the spurs, you can literally just grab them, twist them, and pull them off. And I got a complete video which Dids have obviously seen on that. And it's great because those spurs can damage the hens as well. So if you remove them, it cuts the size of them by over half, and it softens them up for a little while. The only thing you have to watch when you do it is that the hens don't start pecking them, because obviously there's blood there. But just put him down on some clean bedding and keep him away from the hens for 10-15 minutes, and you'll be right as rain. Okay. Can you actually get rid of mare's tail? Yes, you can. It is an absolute nightmare to get rid of, and you really got to be on your job. You can't let up for 1 minute, and it will take you a couple of years. Essentially, if you've got mare's tail, you need to grow sort of no dig, and the reason for that is every time you dig that plot, you're spreading those very fine root hairs around, which is creating more of a problem for you. And certainly don't ever rotivate that soil. But go no dig on it, lay down a good layer of cardboard and a 5 or 6 inch layer of compost and grow through that. But here's the important fact with mare's tail. When it comes up, rather than just pulling it off, you need to dig down and chase down the root as far as possible. The more that root you can chase out, the more damage it does to the plant. Now, the idea is you need to do this as soon as it pops its head through the ground, because what you want to do is weaken the root system over time. Each time it puts up a new head, that is using energy from the root system. And if you leave it even for a day, it's pulled enough energy back into that root system to feed it. So as soon as it comes through that soil surface, you need to be there hoeing it out, or taking the top off, or digging the root out, wherever it is. And over a period of time, you'll weaken the root system enough and it will die. It's a long process. You can buy chemical weed killers like glysulfate that'll kill it, and I don't recommend you'll do that, because it doesn't kill the root, it only kills the top growth. And it's the same with most of these weed killers, it doesn't kill the root most times. It's it only kills top growth anyway. So if you're there, just dig it out, as you're weeding, or as you're walking past it. Don't ever walk past a piece and leave it there, because that's feeding the root every single time is getting access to sunlight. And you go back to to phase 1 with it. Okay. What can one do about asparagus beetle getting bored with squishing? Unfortunately, squishing is one of the best methods for getting rid of asparagus beetle, but you can again use the SB plant invigorator, which will help. The SB plant invigorator is also a good deterrent, so if you haven't had it and you use it beforehand, that can put them off. There is also a nematode that will kill them. It's extremely hard to find, and I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but try searching for nematodes for asparagus beetle, and it may come up. Obviously, I'm in the UK. I haven't seen it for a few years here, but our government is screwing with all sorts of things at the moment. So, certain things have been taken off sale. So I don't know if you'll get it out in America or Australia or wherever you are. Amelia saying make a child infusion for mildew. Another good organic thing, if you don't want to use the SB plant invigorator, but this is more of a preventative, is whole milk. So if you dilute whole milk into some water, so you need about sort of 1/4 whole milk to 3/4 water, and spray your plants, things like your courgettes, or your marrows, or your gourds, things like that. They will, your zucchinis, whatever you want to call them, that milk can actually, because it's a living organism, because it's a whole milk, it actually wards off the powdery mildew fungus as well. So so that can help, and you need to do that every 10 days. But once you've got it, the milk isn't going to do a lot, and you're going to need to use like the SB plant invigorator. The best bet, if you get it on a couple of leaves, just cut those leaves off, because it will help put it right throughout the plant otherwise. So where are we? So Julia's Gardening Diary, use purple spray available from pet care and horse care supplies on any open wounds in hens and cockerels. It stops the hens from pecking the wound. Yeah, that's a great tip. And I didn't use it. I used like a baking soda, but again, yeah, that's a great tip, Julia. Thank you. Dean, Mare's tail, barring digging it out, I've found product Diamond knocks it back and kills the tops. So theoretically, after several applications, should weaken the roots also. Dean, is Diamond a chemically based product, or is it organic? I've never heard of it. So Angelina is saying, yay, I caught you live. Thank you, and glad you're here too. It's crazy. It's 151 people in here. I can't see how many thumbs up I got, but I don't think it's enough, guys. So make sure you give that thumbs up for me as well, and that'll let YouTube know that the content is good, and they might share it out a little bit more. Okay, so Mooey Yap, imitating your growing potatoes in buckets. How often to fertilize? The type of fertilizer. Okay, so I've had this question quite a lot. Now, when we put the buckets together, we put in some bloodfish and bone or whatever fertilizer we're going to use in that container, and I'll give off a slow release. But throughout the time, you're going to need to feed. Now, what I do, I feed a seaweed feed, so you can buy like Shropshire seaweed or whatever seaweed liquid it is, and dilute that down to the instructions, and I'll give a feed, and I'll typically do that once every 2 or 3 weeks. The potatoes, more often than not, don't require it, but it's if you can do that, you're going to provide everything they ever need, because as they're putting on the tubers, you need to provide them with plenty of minerals, and the seaweed does that. Okay. So I'm growing tomatoes, runner beans, beetroot, lettuce, shallot potatoes, and begonia all in buckets. Do I water all from the bottom? Jan, you only really need to water from the bottom if you're growing seedlings and things, and that's usually to prevent root rot and stem rots and these type of things, or damping off, those watering from the bottom sort of helps with those. But once they're established plants, watering from the top isn't an issue. So if you want to water all of them from the top, it's not going to be a problem for you. I'll use that recipe, I think, guys. 360 grams of water and 20 grams of lye, 963 grams of olive oil. If you can use olive oil, strain it with a cheesecloth first. Use a cold press method, but temperature is not an issue with Castile soap. 33 ounces final. There you have it, guys. And I'm going to screenshot that and give that a go as well. So, yeah, and that's the great thing about these communities, I know all about Castile soap. I know that it's really good for spraying it. I've never thought of making it myself. And if it's that easy, why wouldn't I make it? Because Castile soap, we all like to save money, and all these little things do mount up and end up costing us a lot. And it's money we could be putting elsewhere, So Amanda's thinking about the asparagus beetle, CJ H202 for PM. Yeah. It's a chive infusion. That's what Amelia's saying. So Webbs is just saying, just want to say thanks for all the videos. Learned so much from you. I appreciate that, and I'm glad you're enjoying them. It's crazy to think there's nearly 500 videos on the channel. And so I know some people have got huge amounts more, and eventually, as I give up work, when I get around to that, I will be putting out content probably 2 or 3 times a week rather than singly, but I wouldn't want to bore you all so much. Right, what we got here? Diamond's chemically based product. Right, thanks, Dean. So Dean's saying that diamond product is a chemically based product, so it's okay for people who don't mind using chemicals. If you're organic, it's no good for you, so consider something else. So Deborah's saying, what is the best all-round fertilizer for a veggie garden? There is no best all-round fertilizer. People look at fertilizer as, I got to feed my plants. What I would say to that is you are much better feeding your soil than feeding your plants. Okay, so when I say that, the microorganisms that are in your soil, that's what feeds your plants. It's the microorganisms, the fungal and the worms, the bacteria. All of this stuff is what's putting the nutrients in your soil. If you're going to come and add loads of chemicals. That's going to kill all them. But if you were going to add things like bloodfish and bone is a really good long-term or slow release feed, okay? But that is a slow release feed. So it's going to put it out right across, a few months, so 4, 5, 6 months. But if you're looking to fertilize, you can't go wrong with seaweed. It really is a good fertilizer. But again, it really depends on what you're growing. If you're growing all leafy crops, you need more nitrogen. So you'd be better off with something like a nettle tea, and then other stuff. Comfrey is really good. So, there's so many different things, and you could get by with just one of them. But why would you if you got access to it all? And don't forget, a lot of these are free as well, Why is my early cauliflower white on the top, but the stalk part is pink? It's probably had cold shock at some point. Brassicas, they tend to go pink when they've had a cold spell, and it could be a variety, but I very, very seriously doubt that. It's probably cold shock it has had. And that's usually when it's been really warm in the day and cold in the night. And I've got a load of cauliflower in containers, still in the polytunnel, and they've all bolted before I've even got them out of the containers. And that's because of the weather's been hot one day and freezing cold the next. And they just don't know what they're doing, so they bolt. That's my guess. Without seeing it, it's a bit hard to really say, but it's possibly down to cold shock. So Karen's saying I'm on 134. Is that thumbs up, Karen? I'm seeing there's 154 in the chat at the moment. Thumbs up should be green, not blue. Thank you, Laura. Okay, what else we got? So Jen's saying she's been given an outdoor cucumber. Any tips? Jen, it's going to need plenty of sun, but try and keep it. Cucumbers like to be quite humid, so put it somewhere that it can climb, and it's not going to be, sort of loads of wind blowing through it. So don't put it on an arbor or something. Put it up against a shed or something like that you can climb, or more in a sheltered spot, and you'll find you'll have much better humidity because of that. If it's on like an arbor that's being blown through, then that wind that's blowing through is removing that humidity. So cucumbers like it warm and humid. So do that. Find a little microclimate somewhere and put it on that, and just make sure you give it a good trellis to climb. Amanda's saying she just did number 100 thumbs up. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. I've just answered that one. So Alston and Charmaine, any suggestions for growing potatoes and garlic in the tropical heat of the Caribbean? Yeah, if you're growing these things, you need to mulch. The mulch, guys, it will reduce the temperature of your soil by over 10 degrees. It will keep the moisture in your soil so that that the plants get the moisture it needs. It will stop your soil from cracking because that sun can't beat down on it. The mulch is going to be one of the most important things for you. And also consider as well maybe growing in partial shade for you guys, because it will still give the light levels it requires, but also will remove some of that heat. What I will say is with mulch, the soil life will thank you as well, because earth doesn't like to be uncovered. So the more you can cover it with an organic matter of some sort, the better your soil will be. And over time, that soil will hold more moisture and everything else. But the mulch is going to be key for you guys. So, Blissida, any collaborations in the works? Always enjoy seeing the greats together. Scott and I, Scott Gardner, we we had planned on another collaboration for this year, but like I said, I've been so ill. We haven't had much chance to talk, and I am always open to collaborations with people. They've just got to hit me up and come to me with some sort of idea, and I'll be more than happy to look at it. If I can fit it into my schedule and what I'm aiming at for that particular time, then we'll get it done. I had spoken to Mark at Self-Sufficient Me, and we did agree that we would collab again, but that conversation again ran a little bit dry because of me in just not being that well and stuff. But like I said, once I've had this small operation, hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be the end of the vertigo, and I'll be able to get back to life and enjoying myself and doing everything I want to do. But we're only halfway through the year, so there's plenty of time yet. So previous owner of my house got loads of topsoil in it that had rushes in it. So I have rushes in random places in my garden. What's the best way to get rid of them? Dig them out. And again, when they see it pop up, just dig it out. Unfortunately, for a lot of these things, unless you're going to go down chemically poisoning your soil, you're going to have to dig. There is no easy way to garden, guys. And people are always looking for quick fixes, and you have to put the work in. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. There are challenges and everything else, and you have to work. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Now, I do like to go no dig as much as I can, and a lot of my plot is no dig, but I'm not adverse to digging if I have to. And in this case, with rushes and things like that, you need to dig them out. Okay. Context for my question. I don't have a greenhouse as mine fell apart. Plastic. Was advised it could just grow out on the patio. Yeah, that's fine, Jen. The cucumber, I take it. Yeah, it'll grow out fine. Put it in a good size container. Make sure that it doesn't dry out, because remember what I said about with the tomatoes, those feeder roots don't like drying out because they desiccate. So make sure it's kept moist, and try and keep it out of the wind. Where am I? I've lost where I was, guys. Where are we? I just saw that John's gone, so bye, John. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Jane Kelly. I just spotted you there. I don't think I've come down as far as that yet. I've lost where I was. Ah, there we are. Right, okay. Oh, I seem to be way away. So Amanda's saying seaweed feed is amazing. Yes, it certainly is. It's great stuff. Simply just me saying thanks for all your content. Love watching the channel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. PM equals powdery mildew. Yes, thank you, Tony. You're a star. Love it when you smile too. Yeah, it's not been so many this year, but I do get a good little chuckle when I'm on other people's lives and I'm giving grief in the chat sections. So Jane Kelly, right? I've just come across you, Jane, saying hi to Chris. Thanks for joining in on the chat, and thank you for the 250k. Congratulations, I appreciate that. So Jan Morgan's, Tony, just curious, are you in Wales? Yes, I'm in Wales. I'm in the South Wales Valley, about 15-20 minutes from Cardiff. So yes, we've been lived in a place called Nelson for most of my life. I've traveled around when I was younger, but I've ended up back on my own doorstep. So John Corbs, I'm off, Tony, again. Huge congratulations. Thank you very much, John. Sorry if I've missed you going, because I am a little bit behind in the chat. Okay, let's have a look what else we got here. It's great that you're all having conversations with each other as well. That's really good. So Kay Wheatley, let's have a look. I'm only one of 250,000 on here, but you've made a difference in my life. Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. And it's comments like that that really mean the world to me. It's funny, when you get your first comment where you know it's really affected somebody, it does make you think, really, my videos have done that. About 2 years ago, I had a guy write to me. He was medically discharged from the army. He suffered really badly with PTSD, and he was losing his battle, really. And he said that he was considering taking his own life and everything else. He was arguing with his wife and his children and everything else. And he wrote me a really heart-touching letter to say, look, thank you very much. I came across your videos and it got me into gardening. And because of gardening, I've managed to turn my life around. He's still, had challenges with that and stuff, but his family and everything, life and everything is so much better, and he would never dream of doing anything like that now. And when you sit back and think of something like that, you think, wow, it's it does get a lump in your throat because of it. And you think that's just over a gardening channel, it's major, but you just don't know how, for you creators out there, you just don't know how your videos are being perceived. And in this guy's thing, he's literally turned around and said, your video saved my life. And you think, well, it's just a gardening video, but you don't know how that touches someone and then affects their life as well. So when I see these sort of comments, it really does sort of like take hold and cause a little lump in the throat. So Nat is saying, I've sprouted honeydew melon seeds. So hi, will they be okay outside in a garden? And do you have any tips to help them thrive? Keep them inside if you can for a little while longer. We're due for some cold spells tonight. I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but you want to be looking around about sort of way over sort of 12 degrees nighttime temperature before you even risk putting them out, okay? And then they may still get shocked. So gradually bring them out, give them the daytime. When it's warm, put them back in at night. And as that temperature starts lifting more at nighttime, then put them out. Give them a good feed and a good watering when you plant them, and then mulch around them and let them sprawl or climb or whatever you're going to do with them, and they'll be fine. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Jeffrey is saying seaweed's full of micronutrients. Yeah, it's absolutely packed with them. So, Mark, what would you recommend? Excuse me. What would you recommend planting for an edible boundary hedge? That's quite interesting. I would probably do something like, if you're looking for a hedge, I would do something like currants, something like that, because they get quite dense, so they can be put together and they would grow really well as a hedge. So something along that way. Currants, jostaberries, loganberries, gooseberries. I'd go down the fruit thing, and or even if you wanted to do like espalier apples or something like that as a hedge. But if you want more a hedge than a fence, I'd go down the currants or that sort of soft fruit side of things. So what she's saying, he's got lots of, I'm assuming you're he or she, saying, I got lots of nettles. We'll try nettle fertilizer, thanks. Yeah, nettle fertilizer is fantastic as a nitrogen source, and there are videos on my channel for that, and it's made exactly the same way as you'd make comfrey tea, and but it's fantastic for all leafy crops. All right. Jacqueline, what's the best thing to use to get rid of aphids? We've got millions despite us applying ladybird larvae. Okay, Jacqueline, the issue you've got when aphids, the ladybirds don't come in and the lacewings and things like that don't come in large enough numbers until there's already an explosion of aphids. So you've got a couple of options. You can leave the aphids until that ladybird population grows and they'll take care of them for you. Or you can go down the soap solutions or the SB plant invigorator. Yeah, they're all really good. You could even just go down the jetting them off the plants with water. But if it's infested, I'd look at like the SP Plant Invigorator or soup solution and do it every couple of days and really make sure you knock them on the head. So Pinleg saying I don't bore them one bit. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. It's good to know. What's that silver thing behind you? That silver thing there. That's my play button, which I'm sure you're well aware of. Right, okay. Ian Poole, I'm growing potatoes in buckets. Great stuff. Can I reuse the compost afterwards? Absolutely, you can. Let me see if I can find you a link. Bear with me 1 second. Right, if I don't know if it's going to allow me to copy it into the chat, but if it does, right, there should be a link there, Ian, to a video exactly on that subject, reusing the compost after growing potatoes in it, and it shows you everything you can use it for and what to do with it to sort of revitalize it and things like that. Okay. So Rob's saying, sorry if you don't chat much, he's on his phone. Yeah, it's hard when you're on a phone sometimes because big thumbs and everything else, it's quite hard. So Julia's saying 165, is that people in? At the moment it's showing 174 for me, so it's obviously I'm a bit behind on a chat. Let's have a look here. Our Colorado is saying you're making solid Castile bars. If you follow that recipe, liquid soap's very difficult, but bars are better, easier to store, and it just takes longer to dissolve in the water. Yeah, a bar's not going to make a difference. It's the same thing, just dissolve it up in the water ready. You can use an old cheese grater or something like that to get shards of it and put it in the water. I'm sure that'll break it down. And use a warm water. It'll dissolve a soap much quicker. If you're going to use a bar, use it warm water and then let that cool down and then use it. Okay. Julia's Gardening Diary, Simplified Gardening. I keep my cucumbers in the conservatory on a heated floor. They're loving it. Yeah, most plants do love it when they get bottom heat, and because that warms the root zone. And a lot of people think it's air temperature when it comes to looking after plants, but it's not. It's their feet. If their feet are warm, they'll grow well. And it's why heated propagation benches work so well when you're germinating and things. Jane, yes. Do you know, it's funny. I'm going to do a video, a gardener reacts to my very first video, because I look back on it and I cringe, and it really does make me think, how the hell did you get here? And I'm sure in another 5 years, I'll look back on these videos thinking, bloody hell, what was he thinking? But look, YouTube's a journey, guys, and if you're creating any sort of content, where you are now will be a totally different place where you're going to be in 2 years' time, and you'll look back thinking, what was you thinking back now? But you can only do what you know, and I didn't know a lot back then, I can tell you. Not as far as the gardening goes, but I didn't have a clue how to present. I didn't have a clue how to video. Didn't have a clue how to edit. And anything else you want to add around that. But, as we go, we all learn things, and some more than others, and you implement and see how it works, and you reevaluate and move on, But thank you, Jane. I appreciate it. So Amanda's going. Thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate that. Right, I'm going to address this one. Lawrence, yeah, this does the rounds over social media every now and then. A gallon of white vinegar, 2 cups of Epsom salts, and some dish soap. I have a few issues with this. Yes, it will kill your weeds, but you are putting tons of Epsom salts into the soil that isn't required, which raises the salt content, which then kills off a lot of the microbial life. You're using vinegar, which is going to kill. It's like the easiest way to explain this. It's like when a dog urinates on grass and you get that yellow patch. Yeah, it's because the grass is dying because of the acidity within the urine. And it's exactly the same thing with vinegar. So that small patch there, you're going to kill everything in that patch. And then dish soap, as we've already discussed, is actually a detergent, not a soap. So I really dislike this thing when it goes around doing the rounds. And I'm really sorry, Lawrence, I don't mean to pull you out on it. And it will kill weeds, and you're totally right, it will kill weeds, but it's all the other stuff that it's doing as well. I just can't I can't bring myself to ever use it. But the products in themselves, like the Epsom salts, are great for, your tomatoes and things like that, but used sparingly. And it's why it's important to test your soil before you use it, because you may not even need Epsom salts in the soil, and you don't want to be raising them salt levels. Can I use conifer wood chippings and leaf matter as a mulch? You can use them. I would stick to using them in paths and things like that, not around your plants. Okay. If you're going to use any sort of wood material, chippings as a mulch, try and stick to hardwoods, things like oaks and cherries and stuff like that. All right. Beech, anything like that would be fine. But conifer, any of that sort of family, Christmas trees, okay to use on your blueberries. But most of the conifer family, you can use them in the garden. Just use it as a pathway. If you've got wood chip paths, use them on that. And then when they break down over a couple of years, you can dig that up and put it into your compost and make compost out of it. That's probably the best bet to use them. Oh, I missed this one. I'm going to go back to it. What's the smallest courgette plant to be planted out and cucumbers in a polytunnel? So, Anne, what's the smallest courgette plant? I don't really know what you're trying to ask there, because they're all pretty much the same thing. Cucumbers, herbless tasty. They give you small cucumbers, but the plants are still going to be quite big. But the courgette and the cucumbers can be planted in a polytunnel, no problem at all. And a courgette can even stay in a big tub if you wanted to. And people are afraid to prune these plants. A courgette will keep chucking out fruit from the center of it. Well, if leaves are getting in your way, cut them off. You don't need them. Just keep a core group of leaves and keep the plant compact, and then you'll be all right. And I think that's what you're on about with your question. Excuse me. Okay. So Michael Lindsay asks, am I still doing a pumpkin contest with the little girl? The little girl was Lisa, and also Rachel's daughter Rose was also sent some seeds. Now, unfortunately, although mine germinated, Lisa's didn't, and neither did Rose's. And I'd sent them both seeds. Felt really bad, but I'd run out of seed. So in order to keep this going, I put out a few feelers, and Dean from Dean's allotment, Dean's backyard, I think, excuse me, got me sorted, because he purchased the same packet I did, or part of the same group as I was, and had the same seed. So he was able to send me a few over because he wasn't using them. So I've sent some on to Lisa, and I told Karen last night that I will get some out in the post to her today, which went. So hopefully both of them will be able to get them germinated. It's not too late, and we can still have this competition. I was gutted when I found out that they didn't germinate for them. Okay, where are we? Why is that jumping on me all the time? Oh, I'm way behind. Oh, so Karen's saying she loves self-sufficient me. Yeah, Mark, we didn't really collab, but I did a video based around one that he had right in my early days about chickens. So it's in the chicken playlist, Karen, if you want to look at it. But Mark and I have, have known each other. Christ, I think Mark had like 10,000 subscribers when we got to know each other, and now he's on 1.2 million, I think. So he's doing really well. So yeah, he's a great guy, and he knows his stuff, and he's got a fantastic garden. So that's really good. So Mark's asking if I've ever tried to take a cutting from a potato plant and start another plant and clone from it. I have tried it. What I find is that it usually starts off okay, and then blight or something will set in. I don't know why that's the case. And to be honest with you, it's just so easy to stick a tuber in, just keep a tuber back that's chitting or whatever, and put that in the thing. It's it's just too easy to do that rather than mess about sort of trying to clone a potato plant. Well, there you go. So Frank's already answering Anne, and he's growing a courgette called Piccolo, and it gives us tennis-sized fruit. I'm hoping this plant grows smaller than normal ones too. So Frank, let us know how that goes, because I'd be interested in that. I know there are a lot of round-style courgettes or zucchinis, whatever you want to call them, and they, the plants, from what I gather, are about the same size. So, but let me know if you find it smaller, because that's always good to know. Oh, I'll come to this one. Lily, how can we make free fertilizer? There's 2 plants you need, Lily. The first of those is nettles. All right, and I've got a couple of videos all about nettles, so search them out. Just put in any video you're looking for on me. Put in what you're looking for. So if it's nettles, type in nettles, and then put the word simplify afterwards, and it's going to pull up all the videos to do with that based around me. Okay, so I've got one on nettles you need, and comfrey. Okay, now the nettles will be for early part of growth or for leafy things, and that'll provide you a nettle tea. And comfrey will give you all of the potassium and the phosphorus that you require. So if you've got fruiting plants, you'll switch over to that once they start flowering. The other thing you could do is make your own worm castings or compost, and make compost teas as well. It's all free, and you can grow everything on it. So Marion, have to go now, Tony, in case I don't speak with you. Enjoy your big day in July. Bye for now, Marion. Thank you, Marion. We had a bit of crappy news this morning. We're not sure if that's going to happen, but we'll know more by the 26th of June. The wonders of what's happening at the moment, you know. Hello, Woodo. How you doing? Hope you're enjoying that. So, Dean from Dean's Lost Plant, are you planning on visiting any of the shows if you are this year? Dean, I am hoping to get to Malvern. It's whether I can get the time off. And as you know, I had a couple of years off growing the giants because there was a lot of politics going on that I didn't like. And I don't do politics in gardening. So I'm hoping to get there this year, but unfortunately it falls on when I'm supposed to be in work. I've asked a few other managers whether or not they can cover those shifts for me. If they can, I'll be there. That's if we're not in lockdown. Sorry. No, Dan, I can't. I started learning it a few years ago, but you know what it's like. Life takes over, and I never got around to finishing. So it's very small. So tipping back, very small. But it is something I'd love to do. But it's a huge time commitment. Welsh is one of the hardest languages to learn, and the time commitment for it, I just don't have at the moment with everything else that's going on. So Margaret Spencer, I got my plot and turned to YouTube for help, and your channel, it definitely spurred me on. Great. I'm really glad that's what the whole channel's about, is to sort of get you guys enthusiastic about your gardens and to get out there and try, turn off Coronation Street or whatever you're watching on the telly and get out there and garden. That's all I can really say to you. Okay, let's have a look next. So Jen is in South Wales too, down the valley from me. Where are you to, and Jen? I don't know where you're about. I speak parcel tongue, said Voldemort. Right, first time gardening wasn't until I watched your channel I realised I'd planted the potatoes upside down. Since bought containers and planted more lots of top growth, will they work? Sharon, look, with potatoes, they're pretty good. If you've put them sort of down the wrong way, them shoots will turn that potato, and they'll bend around it and they will grow up. They will always get to the surface. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You'll find that you'll have potatoes there, especially now you've got top growth. Don't panic. Okay. Right, so I'm going to skip through a few of these because they're not really questions. This one I do want to bring up though. So Marcus said gardening generally is one of the best antidepressants. It should be prescribed on the NHS, and I couldn't agree more with you. And in fact, the video that's coming out tomorrow, I'm hoping it's going to come out tomorrow. I'll give you a little sort of heads up. It's all about well-being gardens, but I don't want to spoil it. I'm still waiting on authorization to release it because it's got a paid promotion in the video, and until I can get the authorization on that, I can't release it. And it's been filmed for over 3 weeks, which has annoyed me a little bit, and I let them know tonight. So but it is what it is. Hopefully it'll be live tomorrow. If not, there won't be a video tomorrow, and I will make it live as soon as I can. You're the only person I can listen to and always take notice of what you say. Thank you, Jan. I really appreciate that. A lot of people have problems understanding me, so the fact you're listening is good. Let's have a look. So Naturally JB did a video on neem oil, and so have I. That's there too. Okay, great story, Tony. It's not about the video, it's about getting into something new and discovering a community of amazing people just like you. Thanks for all the great videos. Thank you, Greg. And yeah, it is. And you'll find that. And prime example is Dean from Dean's Lost the Plot. Like I said, the challenge with me and Lisa and Rose would have been over with just like that, because their seed didn't germinate. I put out a few feelers. Dean came up trumps and found what I needed. Without that, that challenge would have been over with, and it wouldn't have happened. And it's because of that community and this community that we're able to do that. And, I love the fact that if I can help somebody, I will help them. And Dean's exactly the same. He knew I needed that seed to continue the challenge with these two amazing little growers, and and he came up trumps for me. So, and that's what it's about. And I see it time and time and time again in our Facebook groups and things like that, where people are, sharing stories and ideas and passing on cuttings and whatever else they're doing. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally just come in from a garden in Monmouthshire, setting up to plant corn. Any tips on doing this? Yeah, so corn is wind pollinated, So plant in a block, not in a row, okay? However, not to say it won't pollinate in a row. If you're putting it in a tunnel, you need to be in there shaking the corn once it starts, those pollen heads open, and you need to shake that corn so that it drops onto the tassels of the corn. But give it loads of feed, okay? It's going to need plenty of potassium to produce really good corn, and they're hungry plants and they need tons of water, so don't skip the watering with them. So Karen's saying many doctors do prescribe gardening. Some medical centers even have allotments allocated to them. Yeah, and I will say, going back quite a long time ago, I had a period of depression, and it was while I was filming videos and everything else. No one knew about it as such. I was off work because of it. And when I went back to work, they actually spoke to me and said, well, if you were off ill with depression, why was you in your garden? And it was at that point I had to explain to them that without that garden, that was the only thing keeping me going. And they seem to have got it after. But it's becoming quite a norm now that doctors are saying, look, you need to get out. You're getting exercise. It's taking your mind off things. It's allowing you to concentrate on something else. And I talk more about that in this video that's upcoming as well. So it's good. So Rob's off to put in more peppers. Thank you, Rob, for your congratulations. I deserve a night, do I really? Thank you. I do appreciate that, Rob. Cheers, mate. And I'll see you shortly. So Naturally JB, just want to echo all the lovely comments. Congratulations, you made a video summer 2019 about failure, which really affected me. I still think about it all the time. Do you know, that video is funny because you see a lot of channels online and everything is all picture perfect, and they only ever show you everything going well. And if that's all that ever happens for you, that's fantastic. But in reality, gardening is something that you fail at time and time and time again. And every now and then you'll have a success, and we celebrate those successes. But there's no shame in failing at something. And the great thing is that winter's a really good reset. So if you fail at it, great, sow some more seed, try again, try a different way. And, it might be that something worked really well the first time and you do it again the next year and it fails. But there's that one little thing within that system that wasn't quite the same, and that caused the difference in the outcome. So as far as my channel goes, you're going to see it as it is. Yes, I try to sort of like keep the content all based around a specific topic. But if I fail at something, you guys know about it. So you know when my garden's a mess because I show you, and it becomes a topic of a video or something like that. So that's good. How big should cucumber plants be when planted out, and courgettes, please? As long as they got a good root system and it's warm enough, they can go out at any size. I've got mine in 9-centimeter pots, and I've just put them out into the tunnel last week. So, but they were crying. The top growth was about this tall on my cucumbers, so it's perfect time to get it out much more. And then they start using up the nutrients in the pots, and because they're putting on fast growth, and then they start yellowing and stuff like that. So get them out as soon as they got a good root system and it's warm enough. Get them out. So Amelia puts compost used in tubs for chilies in potato tubs, then be used for beetroot, onions, carrots, leeks, then spread on the beds. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be a single-use product. And, people look at compost as though it's a one-time use thing. It's organic matter. And you can use it time and time and time and time again. Obviously, if you've got a problem with it, like sort of white rot for onions or something, then you don't want to use it for onions. You want to move on to something else. But that compost can be used forever. Just put it into your compost bay and mix it with some of your homemade compost and reuse that, or put it out on your beds, or use it for carrots. And that's the best way to do it. I constantly get people commenting on the potato videos. Oh my God, look how much compost you've had to buy. Well, 99 times out of 100, I don't buy it, I make it, which you will have seen in some of the videos and some of the clips I've put out this year. But even if I was to buy it, that's an investment in my garden, because I'm increasing that organic matter that's in the soil, and it'll never just come from the, just come out of the potatoes and then end up the tip or something. It's always used, and you'll see that in the reuse video if you've watched that. Hi Tony, didn't know you were doing a live chat again, missed about 45 minutes, great listening to the tips. Kenny, I'm sorry, it was a short notice. I put out a post on YouTube on the not the members, the chat thing that you've got there. What's the bloody word I'm looking for? Bear with me and I will tell you. Skipping my mind, it is. I'm real brain farts today, guys, sorry. On the community page on YouTube, and I also posted it in the Facebook groups, on my Facebook page, on Twitter. I did let as many people know about it as possible, but I only hit 250,000 yesterday, and because I'm hoping to be back in work tomorrow. It depends on how I feel after, because of this jab I've had. But I only hit it 250 yesterday morning, and of course, because of that, I wanted to do the live before I ended up back in work and everything else, and couldn't do it. And it's really funny because it's amazing. I was talking earlier on about how things snowball as you get bigger, guys, you get to sort of like 5,000 subscribers, and then going from 5,000 to 10,000, you do it in like a tenth of the time it took you to get the first 5,000, and so on. Well, since yesterday morning, we've picked up another 295 subscribers. It just goes really, really fast, right, let's have a look. I'm going to do a couple more, guys, and then I'm going to make a move then, because I've got Caitlin sat down by there on her phone, and the poor bugger's been sat there for a couple of hours now. Let's have a look here. So Karen saying she loves that I care about the environment, what I put into the soil. So many gardeners don't care as long as they get good results. Excuse my phone. Yeah. See, the problem is you can put on loads and loads of chemically based products, but over time, there's always that cutoff, whereas you become dependent on them. And although we'll give you good crops, those crops, sorry guys, those crops are nutrient deficient, and if you want good nutrient dense foods, you need to feed your soil, and by feeding the soil, you're automatically feeding those microbes. So you're not feeding the plants, and this is what people really misunderstand. They think they've got to feed their plants. Ideally, you want to be feeding your soil, making your soil better, making the microbes and all the life in your soil. Can you please deal with this stuff? Making all the soil better, and then lifting those microbes and bringing those up. Tell my phone I'm back, love. Sorry, guys. Tell my phone I'm back. So what I would suggest you do is feed those microbes, and don't ever worry about feeding your plants, and that way the microbes will look after your plants. Sorry, the phone really threw me there and I forgot what I was saying, so sorry about that, guys. Okay, so Simmons allotment adventure. Thank you, Tony. Got plenty of blueberries to mulch. The rest can be used for paths. Yeah, exactly. So the Christmas type trees can be used for blueberries. So mulch them with that, and then chuck it in the paths, mate. Okay. Thanks, Bob. Let's have a look. I think we're nearly done. Karen, thumbs up if you're trying to eavesdrop on Caitlin. Yeah, I tell you what that was. I take it that was to do with bees. Yeah.
She said, I said to her, ring back at 9 o'clock, and if you don't answer, ring back in the morning.
All right. Yeah. It's been absolutely crazy over the last 4 or 5 days, and I've had bee swarm after bee swarm after bee swarm to collect from people's houses and what have you. So I've been really busy with that, and the phone hasn't stopped. It's just rang constantly. I've got a Facebook page on collecting swarms around this area, and that's why people are phoning me at all hours of the day. Right, guys, look, we've been here now for an hour and 40 minutes. I really want to thank you all again for 250,000 subs. Do you want to come over and say bye-bye to everyone? You know, it really does make, you know, a really means the world to us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Caitlin gets so chuffed, I tell her, and his big beaming face on her, especially as she's in some of the videos. You know, do you remember the video when you were talking?
No, I don't know.
When you were talking to everybody when I had to go and get the string for the garlic.
Aww.
Yeah. So I play that back to her every now and then, and she dies of embarrassment because she just doesn't know how to take it, do you?
No, it's annoying.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. 158 still here. I can't believe it. I really hope you all have a great week, and hopefully I can get this video out tomorrow. Like I said, it'll be dependent on whether or not I get the authorizations I need. Anyway, guys, look after yourselves, and I will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.